Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhail, and welcome back to the penultimate round of MRL season number 4. We're, of course, here at the Circuit Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache for the 21st of 22 rounds here in the 4th season of MRL. It's been a long journey to get to this point, and with only a couple of races left, there is still some championship positions up for grabs. And joining me, just like the 2 weeks prior, I'm joined by my countryman, Seb. Seb, how are you doing for this, what is shaping up to be a very, very intense Brazilian Grand Prix this evening?
I'm very excited. Mikhail, how are you yourself?
Oh, I'm doing very, very well. Thank you very much. If any of you have had the opportunity to watch either the Tier 3 or the America's Tier 2 race that premiered earlier today, then I'm sure you are very familiar with how Brazil has gone thus far. But those of you who haven't, those two races have been absolutely incredible, just wheel to wheel for so long, and so many close on-track battles. And are now on your screens. The track the drivers will be going around 4.3 kilometers, 2.6 miles, 15 turns, 10 to the left and 5 to the right. One of the only anti-clockwise, well, one of the few anti-clockwise circuits on the calendar. Short lap times here, 36 laps for these drivers to navigate. Seb, what will the drivers be looking out for at a circuit like Interlagos here this evening?
You want low downforce, but you also want the car to hook up well for those slow speed corners in Sector 2. You said 15 corners, it's more like 11. Those last three in turn 5 don't really count as corners. You take them flat, and you're just kind of turning the car through them. But at the end of the day, you need to be precise here, and you also need to have great car control, as per usual, around most of these tracks in this game.
Yeah, we can see we've already seen quite a few drivers struggle with some of the more difficult traction zones, specifically out of turns 9 and 10. Which is a quick look at the calendar now. We've already been through basically all of the races on here. Some great stories throughout the season so far, and there's only two more chapters to write, Seb, with Brazil today, and then Abu Dhabi, the Yas Island circuit in Yas Marina, Abu Dhabi next week to round off the season. And now, just to before we get things underway, I do believe there are still a few drivers waiting to join the lobby. We'll have a quick look at the standings so the drivers know that we are ready when they are. So, our America's Drivers Champion, Becky B, crowned, I believe, in either USA or Japan. I want to say Japan. But Becky B is our America's champion, America's Drivers Champion, alongside his teammate Alex Yamamoto for Williams, taking the Constructors' Championship by a very convincing margin. So 491 points, 255. Those two have worked incredibly together, but the work isn't done for the Williams squad because they have an angry McLaren right behind them in third place in the drivers' standings. I'm of course talking about CEST. CEST had a tough race in Mexico last time out, finishing, I believe it was 7th. And Yama, well, he came across the line in that runner-up spot at his home race. So hopefully he's able to keep that momentum forward. I was having a little word to him before, and he is ensuring that he extends that gap going into the final race of the season. Right behind them, we have one of the two hometown heroes for this, the two Brazilians on the grid, the leading one of which is Rhapsody in that Mercedes. Bit of an up and down season for him. Some high points, including France and I believe it was USA, where he won his first race back after a couple of race bans. And hopefully he's able to do well at his home race. If any of you are familiar with the Brazilian open lobbies, they always do. Interlagos always do Sao Paulo, so hopefully he's on the ball today. BCFU for AlphaTauri currently sits in 5th place with 131 points. A little bit of no man's land, sort of a bit too far from Rhapsody to really make an impact, but Zamis is too far behind him, so he's hoping to just keep the consistent form up that he's displayed all season long. And as I was just saying, Zamis, the Ferrari driver, the founder of the Emerald, tied for 6th actually with Angel, the Mexican, doing very, very well to stay with the Ferrari driver. Both of those guys on 87 points. 4 points in front of the up-and-coming Chris. Chris only been here for a short while, but he's already shown some immense pace, picking up a couple of race wins along the way and some very, very solid points throughout. But a few troubles with consistency through his few races here with us. But he'll be hoping to mitigate that for the last 2 rounds of the season. Karma in 9th place for the Haas squad, and then Maxim B rounds out the top 10 in the 2nd McLaren car. Outside the top 10, we have Cosquito on 44 points, looking to turn around after his well, pretty shocking run of form recently. Hasn't scored since Belgium, with all of his points coming from the 3 rounds, Austria, Britain, and Belgium. Hasn't been scoreless since, so he'll be looking to get on the board in his home continent. Vischer, the Chilean, there in 12th place with 35 points in the 2nd AlphaTauri car, right in front of Gabizem, the only other Brazilian on this grid. He'll be looking to make an impact in that Red Bull seat. The 2 Alfa Romeos, 14th and 15th, Gearbox ahead of Holtz by 3 points. They'll be looking to chase down that Brazilian Red Bull car to maybe snatch up a few extra points and get themselves off the bottom of the constructors' table. Fizimon, the 2nd Red Bull car there with 21 points, tied with Giza on this standings. I do believe Giza has given up his seat to Fritzen, who has shown some great pace for the Mercedes team in the past couple of rounds. He'll be looking to continue that run of form and give Chris and Becky B a run for their money for the race win. Chiri in 18th with 15 points, and Striffium there in 20th with 6. I do believe Twinkie has given up his seat to a newcomer named Dash, if I'm getting that correct. We'll have a look in just a few moments' time as the drivers are about to get things underway, Seb.
Yeah, we are, as you can tell from that mix of the driver standings, we got a pretty spread out group, but also we can see some great racing as we have seen in the past 2 weeks that I've been here, and also throughout the season as well. But like you said, Tier 3 was a great race, and one reason for that is that those 2 big straights. Obviously, you got DRS here, 2 DRS straights between 15 and 1 and 3 and 4, and that run from turn 12 to turn 1 is so big. You can really gain some time on your competitors if you lose it out in that middle sector.
Yeah, we've seen how powerful the DRS can be around here in Tier 3. The one that stands out to me is Dirk Chocolate. He unfortunately started from the back of things, but was able to make his way through the grid due to a couple of incidents, a couple of major incidents throughout that race, but just lost that DRS at the crucial time, and he was losing 6-7 tenths in that final sector to the guys ahead. So DRS will be crucial, and also penalties will be crucial as well. The Alfa Romeo is looking to make amends after Lovell threw away a podium slot on the last lap, picking up his 3rd warning in the Center S on lap 36. So, Seb, we are now loading into qualifying. 18 minutes that these drivers will have to set the fastest lap time that they can, and then we will be followed by a 36-lap race. So quite a lot of laps here, and yeah, just talk about these track limits as well, because we've been to a couple of tracks. We've been to, Mexico, which was hard on the track limits. USA as well in that first sector a couple of weeks ago. And here again, we have a challenging first sector. The Center S, it's only 3 corners, Seb, but it's 3 corners that these drivers need to nail if they want to maximize the lap time. And it's 3 corners where if you, especially turns 2 and 3, if you get that slightly wrong and compromise your line at any point during that section, they will be losing a heap of lap time, or they'll be getting a little word from the stewards, a big black and white flag next to their name.
Oh, for sure, especially turn 1. Turn 1 is so important to setting up really just the whole entire lap. If you get turn 1 slightly bit wrong, go a bit too deep, or maybe not carry enough speed through it, you can really cost yourself time out of turn 2, especially if you go too deep, because you really compromise your line. You have to give way to some speed through the apex of the corner. It means you're not carrying as much, you're not allowed to carry as much through all the way down that DRS straight. Turn 4 can be a bit of a hotspot on the exit, and sometimes you can see some invalidations at turn 8. That's a slow right hand after that double right of 6 and 7. We can see some people just cut the inside curb, trying to just take that optimal line and reduce the amount of track they cover throughout a lap.
So the 2 Williams cars eager to get out on the circuit. It is a dry qualifying session. We'll see if we can get a weather report sooner rather than later. And unfortunately, Yaman has already been hit with the rev bug. So we'll go on board with his teammate for the first lap of the session, just to save the audience's ears a little bit, as they have a nice camera going through the duckbill of turn 10. I do believe, fun fact, when you translate the corner name from Portuguese, turn 10 is actually just named the duckbill. Found that quite amusing. But here we go, yes. So all 24-time drivers that we went through on this grid. No reserves to speak of after the new additions of Dash and Fritzen. We'll now ride on board, Seb, with our champion, Becky B. Take us around a lap of Interlagos, if you please.
Yep, so you want to start relatively wide into turn 1, late apex, obviously, so you can open up turn 2. Cut a bit of that inside, but obviously don't cut on the inside 2 wheels, otherwise you will invade. Stick tight left to that inside of turn 3, obviously not touching the curb, otherwise you will spin that car around. You're braking just before 50 meters, get that car over. Avoid going too wide as he has, and he's already gone and said goodbye to this lap, Mick. But just a heads up on weather, dry.
Yeah, there we go. So it's actually the top 3 first to set laps in this session. We'll continue on board with CEST as he makes his way into the tricky braking zone of turn 8 and then into turn 9 as well. So very easy to lock that front left. And then we'll see he actually gets on the power pretty nice and early. But turn 10, the duckbill, another tricky traction zone. You can see double short shifting up into 4th gear, Seb.
Yep, you have to. It's such a hard corner to get out of because you have this little elevation, a little bump on the exit just in the middle of traction that can really unsettle the car. As you see, he hugs tightly through 13, 14, now 15, obviously reducing the amount of track you cover. As I said before, what's the time going to be? This is early stages, so he's going to build up on the lap, but that's a good start, a 6.6.
There we go. He is 0.2 a second ahead of his championship rival for that runner-up spot in Yamagabi. Splits the 2 with a 106.792. Some very solid banker times already coming in throughout the session. Casquito goes into 5th place at 107.041. Very, very nicely done from the Argentinian there. Quite a few drivers from the South American continent looking to deliver as we have 2 more times set on the board. That is the 2 Mercedes cars. Rhapsody into 6th at his home race. And Fritzen right on that front row as well, Seb. Only 100th of a second separating the 2 at the front at the moment.
Yeah, it's early stages, so I don't want to look into it too far, but promising signs for CEST. Obviously, about a 10th and a half ahead of Yamamoto, as you said, championship rival. He'll be looking to maintain that gap, that 5-position gap onto the onto the starting grid, I should say. He needs to regain some points after his unlucky race last week. His incident with S-King resulted in S-King getting the penalty. I believe it was a moving under braking incident, which cost him a bit of his front wing.
Yeah, we're going to have to look out for those. Meanwhile, Gabox in that Alfa Romeo on his first attempt of a flying lap. You can see how tight they keep it to the left-hand side, Seb, just trying to minimize the track as much as possible. He will go into 13th place at 107.645, just behind Zamis in that Ferrari. But Chiri, like we saw in America's Tier 2, Seb, I know you weren't there for that one, but just like America's Tier 2, Chiri is doing his first run on the medium compound tires. And that leads us into another very important discussion. Tire strategies for this track. What can we expect the drivers to do for this one, Seb? We've seen both races plagued with safety cars early on. America's 2 had a lap 1 safety car, and we had I think we had a pair of safety cars from memory in Tier 3 earlier today. So what can we expect from these drivers in going into this race?
Well, it's a soft medium soft. That's the ideal strategy around here. You're pitting around lap 14, but you can have a bit of leeway between 13 and 15, but you definitely have to stretch and manage these tires around here. Hards as well, they can last a long time. You can get them from about lap 4-ish from our pre-race discussions, so we should see a fairly straightforward strategy battle come out of here in Brazil, and that's good for our drivers that want a straightforward race. Obviously, we have dry conditions. We should not be expecting any rain, so as long as it's straightforward, drivers that are at the front of the pack should be liking what they're seeing.
I actually stand corrected on the reserve comment. We do have 1 reserve on this grid, and that is in place of Angel/Melik, as I was told after the Mexican race. He will be filling it replaced by Rashid in that racing point. Now, Rashid is a driver who's relatively new to the league. He only joined, I believe, last week or a few days ago, but he's already shown some great pace. He was runner-up in the America's Div 2 race, only behind Hennes, the Tier 2 McLaren driver, who filled in for that one as well, as we watch Holtz go across the line just ahead of his teammate, the 107.5. But yeah, Rashid, another driver to look out for. I don't know if he'll quite be on the pace with the others up the front, especially with his teammate Chris for this occasion. But definitely a driver to keep your eye on. He's certainly quite the talent, and I'm sure, well, I'm confident, Seb, that he will be able to have quite an impact on this grid.
Well, if you're calling someone and saying they have talent, I'm going to back that. I'd like to see how he goes today. I haven't watched him race once, but I'm very keen to, so when he does come out of these pits, I'll be definitely keeping a keen eye on him.
We'll now have a quick look at Yamo as he makes his way through the center rest. A lot of traffic in front of him. 2 cars coming out of the pits with Haas and Alfa Romeo. We did miss Becky B going on provisional pole in the first run. So he actually did a double flying lap. And you can see again, the Williams, I don't know what it may as a commentator's curse or something, but every time we would go on board with the Williams set, they run wide at that turn 4. And that turn 4 is tighter than the drivers think. You want to open that up as much as possible because it is quite a flat out section into turn 6, 7, into the, well, realistically, the first braking zone of turn 8 after turn 4.
Well, turn 4 is a bit of a weird corner. It's a tight entry. It opens up at the apex and then gets tighter after the apex. So it really deceives you because you need to have a late apex and you hopefully need to get enough of that inside curb that it kind of pulls the car into the corner. But if you don't, you kind of lift yourself out to dry because it's a bit of a fair run down to turn 6. And if you don't get turn 4 right, you can leave yourself sometimes in the barrier or, as we've seen, outside of the track limits and invalidating your lap time.
Dash, one of the new additions to the MRL grid, slots himself into 12th as we have one of the Alfa Romeos. I do believe that is Gabox, just parked there, watching on as the front row seats, quite literally, to the drivers going through turns 2 and 3. Step a little bit of a spin there for the Alfa Romeo, but no damage on that front wing. Still plenty of time left in the session as Casquito and Sejos have actually pipped Becky B for that pole position, or provisional pole position. The pole time now is the 106.495 for the Argentinian, looking to get some time back. But a purple middle sector for our champions. Becky B now going through this final sector. DRS wide open as he goes through turn 15, the last corner on the track, tight to the left-hand side. What's the time going to be for our champion? It is pole position, provisionally, as we go down another 10th and a half. 1 minute 6.6, not 0.6, So very, very nice time from our champion here this evening.
Yeah, well, you know someone's on when they get their time beaten and they go and beat it by another 10th. That's how you can tell someone switched on. Becky B looking the best of the bunch at the moment. Meanwhile, I'm just watching Rashid go through his lap. He's looking rather neat. He is on the medium tyres, he is the only runner, I should say, but I think I like your term that he's got pace. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far for this young guy.
Yes, he is. He definitely showed a lot of talent in that America's Tier 2 race. Got a very, very solid finish there. Just picked the wrong tyre strategy at that point in time. It's 12. It's a 6.9 on the mediums, and I think gets pretty close to what we were seeing some of the faster guys in Tier 3 do in their first runs. Mine goes back to the 2 Red Bulls, at least back rows. Chris finally able to join the session again. Gabbyson, well, he wasn't happy with his flying lap as well, his last flying lap attempt. He will go back into the pits. I'm determined to get an onboard lap with one of these Brazilian drivers, as there's 2 cars in the infield at turn 12. So that's a Strifium and the Alpha Tauri of Vischer, both going slowly. So
I wonder if they just spooked each other out.
I don't see any grid place penalties being dished out by the in-game stewards, but Strifium is missing the entire, half of his front wing set. So the woes of America's Tier 2, which he participated in also in that Ferrari car, seem to continue to haunt him, Seb, which is very, very unfortunate. But I do believe he got his new Fanatec direct drive wheel only a couple of days ago, and he's still acclimatizing to that. Gotten a lot of great feedback thus far. Feels very comfortable with it thus far, but just not quite up to confidence yet. How can a new equipment for a driver really impact their confidence and their performance, sir?
Yeah, well, it always takes a fair bit of time, especially when you're acclimated to old equipment and you change over. Every equipment you use, wheel, pad, has this certain characteristic to it which you have to get used to when you change over. I'm pretty sure he's only actually had it set up for 1 day, so no surprise he's going to be struggling with it a bit, because they all have these little quirks that go with them, and once you get on top of them, they tend to help, especially the newer stuff. But when you're not on top of it, it can play some mind games with you, and it can be fairly frustrating at the first hours of using it.
CEST not going to be happy with Chris there. Get Chris coming out of the pit lane on his outlap. Gave the McLaren a bit of dirty air through the fast corners of turns 6 and 7. And as a result of that, CEST ran wide at the exit of 7, and that's going to be an aborted lap. Not exactly what the McLaren driver needs. But Chris now about to start his flying lap after a few connection issues at the start of the session. Currently sitting in 6th with a 106.762. Needs to find, what is that, Seb? 800s to jump Rhapsody?
Yeah, 800s, but I don't think that's what he's aiming for. I think he'd be aiming for...
he's got a lot of traffic out of the pit lane.
They're right there. I don't think they'll play too much in the mind of him, because they're obviously out of his way right now, but this is his first real lap after having that disconnect, so the rhythm's not going to be there, the build-up's not going to be there for the lap, so we'll just be looking to find some spots to improve later on in the session. This will be more of a banker than anything. If you look where he is on the timing tower, looking fairly cautious throughout this lap so far, but he is hitting some corners nicely. That's a nice turn 10, a bit of wheel spin out of it. Need to require a little bit of connection, but look at that purple middle sector. That could be a bit of a glitch, but knowing Chris, he has the pace to do that. Yeah, Casquito as well.
Casquito out of this session. It looks like he's had an issue into turn 5. Chris just quickly switch on over to Rhapsody as he goes on his end. That Chris up to 5th, just ahead of his big rival. Unfortunately, Casquito's car has been now taken away by the in-game marshals. Very, very speedy to get that car done, but fortunately for Casquito, he's set a very, very competitive lap time, a 106.4. I do expect drivers to improve on the lap times currently set in this session, but that is a very, very solid time. I dare say, Seb, that's at worst top 6.
Oh, for sure. It's a good lap time. It's fortunate for him, but also unfortunate considering he set it earlier on in the session. You know, you can get around 4 runs here. You definitely can, because it's a very short lap time. But yeah, they expected to tunnel down. He could have improved on that lap time as well, which is the worst thing. But at the end of the day, he can still start top of the field, and he can still make some waves throughout the race.
Striffium now. We saw him have an issue through the final sector on his first attempt. Navigates it nicely there. Actually, a little tap of the wall there going up to the line, but it is unfortunately still last of the bunch. 20th place for the Ferrari driver, but he's not too far away from Galbox, so that'll give him a bit of confidence. But if he wants to get another run in, Seb, he has to really hurry it back to the pits.
Yeah, he definitely has to. Around 1 minute 40 is the latest you can leave the pits around here, depending on where your garage is located. So get to the pits back around 2 minutes 10. He's going to be really pushing it if he wants that final run in.
A lot of cars going into the pit lane. One of the only drivers on a flying lap now is Galbox, as he has a close call there with Striffium on his in lap. Striffium letting him go in probably one of the most inconvenient spots as the flying driver. Having a car there at turns 6 and 7 really throws you off through those high-speed corners. But we'll see through this middle sector split if it's cost him a whole lot of time. Currently sitting 19th, but he is half a second up, Seb. This could be a big, big drop. Half a second. Where does that put him right now? This will put him around 16th place. Looking to jump, maybe even Samus there in 15th. We'll see how he navigates this final sector. Of course, only one proper corner. It's all about scrubbing off as little speed as possible, and it is 12th for the Alfa Romeo driver. 1 minute 6.829, finding extra 3/10 there in that final sector.
Yeah, meanwhile, Rashid, he's up a 10th on his time through Sector 1. We're about to find out the Sector 2 split. Looks pretty neat so far. Takes a tight line through 11. He's up 4/10 mix, so he really has some pace. He's within that top 6 territory, as we were talking about before. He's going to hug that inside, run down to the line, foot to the floor, and it's all about keeping it tight. Oh, it's a great time mix. Look at that!
It's provisional pole. Becky B retired maybe a little too soon there. The newcomer Rashid on provisional pole by a whole 100th and a bit, or 100 and a half, I should say, of a second, a 106.340. And boy, oh boy, that's a way to make an impact as he gets us swarmed there by the Red Bull family of cars.
That's a statement, Mika. That's a I am here in bold letters with a bit of italics underneath. Josh, Fritzen and Chris, Rhapsody as well, all starting their laps.
Yeah, we're having a look at Rhapsody. I was determined to get a Brazilian onboard lap, Seb, and well, here we go. Rhapsody on his final attempt of the session, currently sitting in 8th place for the Mercedes with a 1 minute 6.601. Looks like it was pretty clean through that first sector. And you can see how planted that car is through the fast turns of 6 and 7. Very, very nice setup there on that Mercedes.
Yeah, it's looking up well. It was a bit tentative through turn 9, as you should be. It's hard corner. This middle section is so tricky. As again, turn 10 once again. Just not asking maybe enough of those rear tyres. Could have found some more time. But who cares? He's up on his time. It's a purple middle sector, Mikael.
Yeah, there we go. He's gone through the final corner and he now just needs to keep the steering smooth and just cross his fingers and pray that he's done enough. Just like the last sector in Baku. Up across the line. What's the time going to be? It's 4th place for the Brazilian there. 3 milliseconds ahead of Casquito there with only 20 seconds to go in this session. That is the Mercedes done for this time. Sejos there manages to get 6th. I think he's actually going for his final attempt right now, Seb.
Chris.
10 seconds now on the clock.
Yeah, Chris has just done and improved. He's pipped Rhapsody and Vischer. That's 3rd place. He's only just in front of Vischer by a 100th and a half. But all eyes on Fritzen and Sejos right now.
Yeah, also Yama down in 14th place. But he is on a flying lap, so the checker flag drops, and he'll be first across the line out of those two. Sejos in 7th, now down to 8th as Fritzen improves, and Yama's into the pits! Not happy.
Wow.
Not happy with his performance at all. You could just see the frustration there as he entered the pit lane. But this is huge news.
Rashid on pole.
Rashid.
But don't forget about Sejos, sorry.
Yeah, Sejos is coming through now. I don't know if he's quite done enough. He's running on fumes. You can see the red fuel light. And now he's gone through that last break and going that proper corner. Through 14 into 15 now. Keeping it as tight as he dares. What's the time going to be? 4th place for Sejos there. 1 minute 6.462. 8 milliseconds ahead of Vischer, who himself is 8 milliseconds ahead of Fritzen. So 4, 5, 6 for those guys. But it is the newcomer, Rashid, on pole position by 1/100th of a second. And boy, oh boy, do we have a race in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. If we just have a quick look at the Gap 2 leader. 1 second covers 1st to 19th with 2/10 the top 8. Wow.
DRS train. Oh, that's what's going off in my mind, Mikael. We're about to have a potential thriller here in Brazil.
My, oh my, that is up there with one of the closest qualifyings that we've seen here in the history of the Misfits Racing League, ladies and gentlemen. You're here witnessing history right now, but it is Rashid, the newcomer, on pole position for that Racing Point. And what a result for Racing Point. It is a 1-3 there to start us off. But they have of course, the champion, Becky B, right there in between them on that front row. And here is looking to carry this momentum into Season 5. But it is Rashid, the Brit, on pole position there with 106.340. I believe 2/10ths away from Ben the Bear's lap record from Club Division last season. 15 milliseconds between himself and Becky B, who will line up alongside him on that front row with Chris, his teammate for this occasion, in 3rd place, with Sejos completing the first 2 rows. Vischer and Fritzen take 5 and 6. A very, very nice result for the AlphaTauri. Rhapsody, lead of the 2 Brazilian drivers, in 7th place in that Mercedes car. Casquito in 8th, Maxime B in 9th, and then Gabby, the other Brazilian on this grid, will round out the top 10. And then we have Karma, BTFU, Fizzymon, Gabox, Yama, Zamas, Chiri, Holtz, Dash, and Strifium, the back 10 of this grid. Now, before we go on this formation lap, Seb, imagine you're Yama right now. You know, it's quite tight between yourself and Sejos. Sejos starting in the front half. Yourself a very, very uncharacteristic qualifying performance. Maybe a bit disappointing, especially maybe akin to the woes that he experienced mid-season. What's your game plan for this race right now? It's a narrow track. It can be difficult to overtake. We've seen how powerful those DRS trains are and how difficult it is to overtake, especially into turn 4 thus far this week. So what's your mindset going to this race if you're Yama right now?
Well, he has to get moves done. Obviously, he's in that championship fight with Sejos. He's 4 points, 4 points ahead. But he has to get a move on. But he also has to be smart with his moves. He can't do anything out of impulse. He has to really think about it and plan those moves ahead. Otherwise, he might end up somewhere outside of track limits facing the wrong direction. He's going to have a good start, obviously, down the order, but he's also going to have to make some smart moves, and he's going to make good use of that ERS as well if he wants any chance of some good point scoring positions and to set himself up nicely for our final round at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, so all eyes will be on that second Williams car as Rashid will lead them away. The predicted pit stop there, at least for Rashid, a softer hard there, pinning around lap 13 to 16, but I'm pretty sure that'll be to the medium compound tyre instead. And speaking of tyres, we'll get them up on your screen now. Only 3 soft runners in this back 10, Seb. Gabox in 14th, Chiri in 17th, and Striffium there in plumb last 20th position there. But just going through this grid one more time as Rashid aggressively weaving there on that second DRS zone. It is Rashid on pole position, the Pirate there for Racing Point, with Becky B, the champion, right alongside him. Chris in the second Racing Point car on this grid. He starts third ahead of CEST, who was looking to really capitalize off of Yama's mistakes in qualifying. Vischer there in 5th place for AlphaTauri. Then we have the 2 Mercedes of Fritzen ahead of Rhapsody. Rhapsody, the one of the 2 Brazilians on this grid to keep an eye out for. He's hoping for a good result at his home race. Casquito in 8th, Maxime B in 9th place, and Gabizon, the other Brazilian, in 10th place for Red Bull. Then on the mediums, outside the 10, we have Karma and BTFU. Those 2 have quite a history together throughout the season thus far. And Fizzymon will be right there with them in the second Red Bull car. Galbox on the softs, he's looking to make positions early. Yama, the driver that everyone will be watching, down in 15th place, very out of position for his championship fight ahead of Zamis in 16th. Chiri there in 17th on the softs. Holtz in 18th on mediums. Dash in at 19th, and the Striffium rounding out this top 10. But said there's actually a slow Ferrari. It looks like Striffium's had another issue on the formation lap, and he had an issue in the formation lap as well on well, yesterday in America's Div 2. So really struggling at the moment, but this race start is going to be intense.
Yeah, as for Striff, this race is all about getting acclimated to that new setup, obviously. Yamamoto on those medium tyres, he'll be looking to make them last a while, but what we have right now is a race start for you to call, Mikhail.
Yes, there we go. Striffium taking his final grid slot for the second last time this season. It is 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Interlagos, and the lights go out very, very quickly, and that's away we go. It looks like Rashid has gotten off to a pretty decent start there, but as has Chris. Chris looking around the outside of Becky B into the first corner, and is at a Racing Point 1-2 as they make their way out of the center S. And it looks like CEST there, taking it very nice and cautiously. They're in 4th position. Vischer holding on to position as well. Maxime B, a little decent there on the timing tower. BTFU has dropped down the order there into 20th place. A horrible start there for the AlphaTauri, but most of the guys making it clean through the center S as we make our way up the hill into the middle sector of the lap now. Vischer trying to make a move there on CEST, looking to the inside into turn 6. All these guys just trying to make it through, and it's very, very tight at the back of this grid as well. So we have Dash and Chiri going side by side for 18th place at the moment into the main technical section of this lap, the middle sector, as they go through. Fizzymon off into the grass. Striffium's had a great start there, up into 5th place as well. Dash now up the inside of Holtz. Holtz squeezing him there onto the curbing as well, but is a Racing Point 1-2 as we go down the main straight for the first time this race.
Yeah, they're pretty well behaved, to be honest with you. BTFU didn't really get a good look, but I don't think there's any damage. Just looked like he had a half spin. Meanwhile, Vischer's all over the back of CEST now, going down into turn 1, but they're not going to make any moves of it. But yeah, look at that start from Chris, though. How good was that? Absolutely round the outside. It's a short run into turn 1, but he made good use of whatever good start he had.
Well, Becky B wanted to fight for the lead with Chris and a battle on track, and that's exactly what he's got at the moment. As the timing tower having a few issues there. There we go. Now it's updated accurately. As what a run from Chiri. There's actually a massive crash behind them with BTFU and Holtz. Both of them losing massive portions of their front wing, Seb. As we see there, looks like Holtz going off really wide at turn 4. But we talked about the start from Chris. What about the start from Striffium? The Ferrari driver is on fire this first lap. He's already up 5 places using those softs to absolute great effect. And he's now got his teammate in front of him now.
Oh, for sure. You wouldn't think it if you just tuned in, but Striffium does have a new rig, and that would certainly wouldn't be playing wonders to how he would be driving right now. But yeah, what a great start. He kept it clean, he kept out of the trouble, and he's found himself up 5 positions from his starting grid position.
Yes, other big gainers on this opening lap are Dash up 3, and then we have Gabox, Yama, and Zamus all up 2 positions after the misfortunes of Busymon and BTFU. But it looks like Stryfium coming under pressure now from Dash. He's right on his gearbox now as we start lap 3 of 36 now, ladies and gentlemen. DRS has been enabled. Stryfium goes very, very deep into the first corner. Dash trying to get the best run as he can out of that center S. Look at the run on the Renault. Onto the rear of that Ferrari car. DRS wide out now for both of them as Stryfium was within range of his teammate. But Dash, he's still there. Can he make the dive? Stryfium leaves him the room. It's side by side now for the two going through the flat out left-hander of turn number 5. They're still going at it, Seb. Wow!
Yeah, wow. Stryfium trying to hold it on the inside. He's got too much of that inside curtain. I was thought he was understeer.
Oh, he goes for it still.
He's gone for another dive. They're still going, Vic. This is great drive between the two. This is hairy stuff as well. The tightest section, the toughest section of the track. They were side by side the whole way through. Stryfium looks like he's going to pull ahead, but Dash is still sitting around the outside. Wow, Mikael.
These guys have gone side by side for a whole second, and it's Stryfium that gets ahead there, but has he done it too early, Seb? DRS now enabled. He is now 1.6 seconds away from his teammate, and you can see already that red light is flashing. He has been pushing like there's no tomorrow. And speaking of pushing like there's no tomorrow, Fritzen up the, around the outside now of his teammate, now into the center S, and he's done that amazingly. And he's actually had a connection issue, which means he's dropped down 3 places now, Seb. Connection issues plaguing the Mercedes. He's trying to go defensive, trying to block off Karma as best he can. Karma now looking around the outside as his teammate Cheery has an issue there in the center S. But it looks like Fritzen has managed to hold off that Haas car for now. But Rhapsody now up 1 position as well as Cheery. Gabby's up 2. And the Brazilians are trying to make waves in this grid. So Gabby's right on the back of Casquito heading into turn 8.
Oh yeah, what we're seeing right now is the top 3 group, and then we have this long DRS train down to P14, including Zamus to Rhapsody. Look at how tight that fight for P6 is. That is so tight. They look like they're separated by less than a second. It's just spreading over that right now, but that could get quite hairy soon.
Well, here we go. We're now riding on board with the young Argentinian, a race winner, of course, in Silverstone. But he's not using that battery, and even with the DRS, Seb, Rhapsody has been able to keep the gap consistent. What wings is this man running?
Who knows, but it's very low compared to his competitors, obviously. But that's what comes into play here. You normally don't see too much wing disparity between, wing angle disparity between these top drivers, but sometimes you get a bit of a mix-up, and that can seriously change how that DRS train works around certain tracks, especially like here. We have these big straights that run from turn 12 to 1, can really help out or deter you in future battles.
Looks like the top 3 are well and clear. Joss doing all that he can to hold on to that DRS. 1.1 seconds is the gap. He hasn't quite gotten it, Seb. And that could be huge for his race. He's gotten a good exit out of turn 12. But through that detection point, he's 300ths away from that illustrious 1 second gap.
And the issue is he's going to lose some time due to not having DRS now. So all that hard work he's going to have to do again from turn 5 to turn 12. Sorry, turn 4 to turn 12, I should say. Just to make it up and see if he can get back within DRS range and come under less pressure from Bishop behind.
Well, he's got within that 1 second for the time being, but he doesn't have DRS once again. I think we found the answer to why Rhapsody was a rocket in the straight line. That red light is flashing, 7. It's flashing very, very early. So, very, very keen to hold on to that 6th place is the Brazilian driver. But now he's basically got no resources to defend from Casquito behind. So could we see an overtake for that 6th place position this lap? We'll have to wait and see in a few moments' time.
Yeah, right now, Yamamoto in P13. He's in the back of this big P6 train, and he needs to find a way to make these medium tyres work later on in the stint. Obviously, the soft tyres are going to have more grip now, at least for the next 4 laps, but we won't see much time managing just yet. It's still early stages. But right now, Gabok's getting a bit out of shape through turn 12. It's not going to allow Yamamoto through yet, but certainly be waiting eagerly for a potential move later on.
As we can see the fight there for 6th place, really shaping up a massive dive from Gabizum. The Brazilian there trying to look around the outside into turn 2 now, but Casquito cuts him off. A great defense, a little bit of argy-bargy into the first corner, Seb. But these two Brazilians now, what is battery at the moment? They are both running extremely low. Gabby's going to be went for that move, but it wasn't quite enough, and he's paid the price for it with that battery percentage.
Potentially getting some extra speed boost from the in-game fans that are here. But yeah, as you can tell, they're leaving it all on the floor early on in the race. All the cards are at the play straight away, and we'll see if this comes back to bite them later on. They'll definitely need a safety car if they want some battery left, because this track definitely eats it up, especially down those back straights.
Yes, 1.8 seconds is the gap between Vischer and Rhapsody at the moment. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is the penultimate round of the Americas division here for the Misfits Racing League season number 4. My name is Mikhail. Joining me is Seb.
Oh, Rhapsody.
Oh, Rhapsody. What's happened to the Mercedes?
He had a bit of a mistake out of turn 12, and that's meant Cascado's going to the front of this queue for P6.
And look now, Fritzen, the race winner here of last week at Mexico, up the inside into turn number 1. He's gotten the move done, Seb. Up the inside at turn 1, outside for turn 2, and he's gotten that move done on Gabby's. And that battery now really starting to bite them. Now the two Brazilians having a duel at their home track now. You can see he's so close. Does he go for the move? No, not quite yet. But Karma is right on the rear of this Mercedes. This is incredible. Now is Karma going to try and find the run into turn number 6. No, not quite. He doesn't have the straight line speed, the run that he needs into this very fast section of circuit, into the hard, difficult braking zone of turn number 8. Great rev glitch there. But a very close there in this train, in this battle for 6th place at the moment, Seb. But they are losing time to this front 5. 2 seconds now, the gap between Vischer and Casquito.
Yeah, I know we haven't talked about it much, but turn 8 can be a good overtaking spot if you can catch someone by surprise. Obviously, you need to be very close. You need to have a good run out of turn 6 and 7, but it can work up and it can pay off, especially if you're fast enough and you're close enough to a potential car in front that you can keep DRS for that main straight.
Karma, he used a bit of that battery. He's got the DRS, he's got the ERS advantage. He looks to the inside for turn number 1. No, nothing quite doing there is Vischer. It becomes the 3rd driver to pick up a time penalty for track limits this race, joining Zamis and Chiri in 14th and 18th respectively. But now, overtake on for the Haas car. Look at the run out of the center S into turn 4, inside line on the Brazilian there. And whoa, nice defense there from Rhapsody. Karma had no choice but to back out there. Great defense there as BTFU already getting lapped in this race, I think. No, that's an issue. That's an issue for the second AlphaTauri car. It is Vischer dropping into the clutches of Fritzen. Casquito makes his way past. Not quite sure what happened there. Maybe a stab of the rear into turn 5. Touching that inside curve. We saw JA Games have an issue with that in one of the 2 races that he's already participated in here at Interlagos. And that's inside curve at turn 5. You really want to avoid, Seb.
Yeah, it tends to... It doesn't look that lethal, but when you drive over it, it will definitely send you around.
And speaking of being sent around, it's Striffium.
Oh, no. He was actually doing a decent job in P16, Mick, as well.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate there for the Ferrari. The Simonella has struck yet again as Gabby's becomes one of the first pitters. If he's pitting this early, he... I actually still have the position changes on, my bad. We'll get rid of those. He's onto a set of hards. Going to the end of this race. And Fritzen, side by side now with Vischer. Through turn 4 into turn 5, Seb. A bit off track there for the Mercedes car, but Vischer holds on for the time being. But he's lost that 1 second now to Casquito in front of him. Fritzen, a driver who you've seen already in the past couple of rounds, has a lot of pace in that Mercedes car. He is now very familiar with that one, filling in for Giza for the past 2 rounds. And here he goes through the duckbill of turn 10. And there should be a fairly easy move.
Oh, sorry, he's just flicked that rear end a bit out through a turn 11. You can sometimes get that, especially if you ride that inside curb. But you don't normally expect it just driving normally. He did he was a bit aggressive through the corner, but that certainly would have cost him a potential chance of moving to turn 1. But it's like he's gaining enough for a potential move into turn 4, Mick.
Yes, Vischer trying to get his way there. A little slide there. Lateral slide for the Mercedes. It might not quite be enough on this occasion. But I'm really concerned about Yama. I mean, he is second out of the medium runners, only behind Karma, who's in 9th place at the moment. but he's not really making moves, and that gap to the front few, and crucially, that gap to Sejos is just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, well, Sejos just has that clean air, and he has that 2.5 second gap that he can just kind of sit in, and he's not really being put under pressure by Casquito behind. So he can just do a calm race here and take those championship points, extend the lead on Yamamoto that he has right now. By calculations, he'd be 8 points ahead after this race if everything stays the same. But yeah, Yamamoto's race is really in the long game. Potential safety car around lap 20-ish, maybe 21. That's when he needs one to come out if he wants to really make gain of those medium tyres. But here comes Karma on Rhapsody, DRS open, looking, swerving, not diving though.
Oh, there's a tap. A tap there. Fritzen losing the rear with a little bit of a wheel bang between those two, going through turn 1, Seb, and now Rhapsody right within that DRS range once again. But Fritzen, he has a second chance. We have an absolutely amazing helicopter view of this, Seb. Up the inside, easy as you like. And now the Indian up into 6th place. And 2.1 seconds between himself and Casquito. Let's see if he well, I think it's hammer time there for the Mercedes.
Oh, it definitely is hammer time, but I just wonder if he's cooked those rear tyres. I'm not sure if was it genuinely. Oh, look at that! Rhapsody going for a dive on Vischer. It's not going to pay off though. It's worth a look though. As I mentioned before, you can catch people by surprise, and he nearly did there.
Well, this is another corner, turn 10, where drivers keep catching out. A surprise and a big snap from Rhapsody at the exit. This could open the door for Karma. He's right on the gearbox, Seb. This could get spicy. Here we go, third sector, ERS. In fuel utilization, that overtake mode, he's really burning it, trying to get the extra run. DRS now wide open. He's gaining, but is it going to be enough? He's pulled out of the slipstream into turn 1. No, it's not going to quite be enough there for the Haas car. But very, very close indeed as we have a big battle there as well. For 13th place, Vizimon goes for a big dive into turn 1, locks up a bit on that front left, and Damas now looking for a way back past him.
Yeah, I mean, well, they got Dash behind. He could come into play. Zamis flicks to the outside. He's just got that DRS, and it's so superior around here. Just look at Vizimon in there. They're touching, and this is going to allow Dash a chance to get for a move in turn 6. This should be ambitious. He's been pushed wide. He'll have to back out, surely, and he has. Oh, hairy stuff in turn 4 and turn 5, Mick.
Yes, absolutely. These three having a very, very good scrap. Not for points at the moment. But of course, I always talk about those bragging rights, Seb. Even though you might have a 0 next to your name on the scoreboard for this race, you can say that you've beaten X-Driver here. And speaking of beating X-Driver, Chris still ahead of Becky B at the front of things, but Rashid, the first of our front three to dive into the pit lane, Seb. Becky B follows it through. Undercut attempt?
Yeah, undercut attempt. We got some more coming in. That's Maxime B coming in for the pits.
Oh, don't look now, Seb. Sorry to cut you off, but Yama side by side with Gabox into turn 1, looking around the outside is the Mexican. He really needs to make moves stick right now. Those softs are done, and what a move.
I'm not going to say it, but that was very nice. I'm not going to say the usual phrase.
Oh, don't say it just yet. It's Gabox coming back. Outside line. Oh. He's still got life in those softs, but he goes wide there. And Rhapsody having an issue there, as well as Karma through turn 4. And both of them make it past the Brazilian with no issues.
And now Yama, just by keeping it clean, he's jumped a couple of positions just from keeping it clean. So that's his game, the long game. He will be making moves later on in the race, Mick, with those soft tyres, the fresh to soft tyres, compared to what would be around 6-lap old mediums when he comes out for those pits.
Now, looks like Rashid and Becky B have a bit of clean air. I mean, Chris has to come in. He has to respond, surely. And yeah, there he goes into the pits. And all eyes now on that pink and white dot going through the final proper corner now, as there's a big fight there between Karma and Vischer on a track there going into turn 1. DRS now open. Inside line for the Argentinian on the Chilean into turn 1. He gets the move done. Can Vischer find the switch back through turns 2 and 3? We'll ride on board now with the AlphaTauri. No, not quite. He's
it was too wide.
But Yama though.
Yamamoto down the inside into turn 4. And vicious mistake of going too wide at the apex of turn 3 is going to cost him.
Oh, he's sticking his nose in.
Ahead. Oh, they're so close, Mikhail. Oh,
that could have been
so bold.
Awful. That could have been disastrous for Yama there, because one tap of the rear at a corner like that, you're going around, you're going straight for that wall, and that's his race done and dusted. Meanwhile, with those front three that we saw earlier, the undercut has worked. Chris is now third out of those three. So a very, very nice outlap from both Rashid and Becky B. And Chris now in net third place.
Yeah, you'll have to make some work of it. Becky B obviously at a DRS range of Rashid. He'll try and claw his way back when Rashid catches up to this this midfield pack. But not looking great for Chris. Obviously he's got one lap fresher mediums, but that's not a world of difference around here.
Rapsy thought about going to the pits, decides against it as he saw Gabox going for that overcut, as Rashid showing the power of those fresh mediums. New fastest up the race, 1 minute 9.115. Very, very nicely done as Fritzen gets past the Red Bull of Gabism into turn number 1. Both of those guys are going to the end of this race, and just the hard tyres not giving the Red Bull as much grip as he's hoping now at the moment, sir.
Well, he has pitted relatively early for them. I wonder if he had wing damage early on, but yeah, like I said earlier on, hard's not really the way to go. Soft medium is a straightforward strategy, and you should be seeing everyone do that. Oh, that's Driffium. I thought that was Zamas for a second who just spun around, but Driffium at turn 8. His bad day gets worse, but obviously with that new wheel, expect him to have a bit of issues.
Yeah, well, he was struggling earlier today of arm issues. Using a bit too much force feedback from the new wheel, to a lot more than he's used to, getting arm day in. But meanwhile, we actually just missed the move from Rashid on dash into turn 6, and now the other two leaders, Becky B is looking to get past Renault now, up the inside into turn 1. Later on the brakes, much more grip in those medium compound tires, and he is now through. And now Chris, oh my goodness, that's an end plate. That's an end plate. That's a Racing Point end plate, Seb.
He's gone right into the back of me. I don't think I was expecting him to go that slow. Dash looked a bit nervy out of turn 1, and I think that would have affected his run through turn 2, and that's why we saw Chris go into the back of him. But Chris's race is just about ruined now. He could very much come into play against likes of...
Oh, look at this, Becky B! Oh! He tried to go up the inside of turn 7 of Zamas, but Zamas like, nah, I'm the old fox here. You stay there. You stay right behind me, right where you belong. He is, of course, on those older medium compound tires, so it's inevitable that he'll have to pit. Just look at the grip.
Look at that run as well.
Inside of 11, Zamas has to leave a room. And look at that clean around the outside. A little bit of wheel banging. Wow, what a move.
Put that to music, Mick. Acceleration, grip, absolutely brave and courageous around the outside to have the trust of Zamas to not...
Dash is there! Dash is there! Becky's got no DRS! He doesn't go defensive, there could be 3 wide into turn 1! Up the middle, no, not quite! Not quite 3 wide there, but Zamas side by side with Dash. This is full position. These two are both on starting medium compound tires. The Renault holding that position for now. Both will have DRS, of course, as Becky B goes through. Chris actually into the pits yet again to get that front wing changed. He's going to drop down all the way to... will be 17th place. I don't know if BT will just be able to get him. It's going to be close. But safe to say that Racing Points race is well and truly over for points today, Seb, unfortunately.
Yeah, meanwhile, Yamamoto and Karma, the two medium runners at the front of the medium starters, are really close to the DRS range. And you'd expect them to be pitting in the next couple of laps.
We'll see how things go. Soft's rated to go comfortably for 13 laps. If you take away 13 from 36, it is lap 23. So a few more laps for these guys to go. Karma going extremely defensive, trying to break the toe. Yama opts to take the racing line. Get less scrub on the tires. A little bit of a lock up on that front left, but I saw that wheel still rotating. So maybe just a visual thing as Dash gets past Zamas there into turn number 1. Yeah, Zamas there actually. I don't know if I said that correctly, but Dash is coming back at him, Seb.
Yeah, look at that run. He just has the ERS to play with, and obviously the DRS too strong. And that's going to be a glide-by move, not even a worry. He'll slot up into P6 for now.
Yes, very, very nicely done there from the Renault newcomer. Actually doing very, very well to stay with Zamis. It was Zamis, from memory, 6th? 6th in this championship.
Yeah, that'd be correct.
So he's doing very, very well at the moment. Meanwhile, I see two cars very, very close on this track. It is, of course, Fizzymon and Becky B. Becky B, he has sights on his new target there, and he's hoping to use this DRS and Slipstream to slingshot his way closer to Rashid, because Rashid got past Fizzymon a little bit earlier in the lap. And just look at the speed of that Williams car. We haven't said that in real life for quite some time, ever since 2017 at Baku, I do believe, with Lance Stroll. But wow, there we go, up the inside of the turn, clean as you like, and he is now 7/10 away from Rashid, who will have that DRS to stay with the Racing Point as best he can.
Yeah, Becky B putting in some really good laps here, able to close down Rashid. He may have been held up by those drivers at the pit. Obviously, all in fairness, Fizzymon went down that back straight. Obviously, kind of let Becky B go. Doesn't need to fight him. Not in the same race. He's racing with Dash and Karma and Yamamoto.
Well, Yama actually got past Karma into turn number 4 as we were looking at the battle behind them. So Yama now in the lead of things on this race. Of course, both of them have to pit still. But Karma looks like on that MFD, he signaled that his pit window is indeed open. We've seen how powerful the undercut is with Chris. Something about, what, about a second? Maybe second a little bit. We'll see what happens here. And yes, he's going for it, Seb. The Haas driver is going for that undercut. So Yama has to push like crazy, but he's only got 12% battery at the moment.
Well, meanwhile, CEST and Zamis going at it down into turn 1.
Oh, 3 wide almost. CEST gets 2 and 1. 2 and 1 for the McLaren driver. Wow, what a move.
Bold stuff as Zamis and Dash squeezing each other through turn 3. Nearly saw an accident there. They both have DRS, and they're going to go side by side now. Down on the run to turn 4. Who's going to go ahead? Zamis is going to pull ahead just about on Dash, and Dash can't fight it. Zamis is going to pull ahead, and this has been a good long race battle between the Renault and Ferrari drivers, Mick.
Yeah, it's really been a great, great scrap between those two. Very, very nice to see. Meanwhile, crucially for Yama, Karma has clean air. 2.9 seconds between himself and Maxime B. Currently sitting in 12th place is the Haas driver on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Now, Yama has to respond here. He's using all the battery. He's got that overtake on, Seb. Going into the, I'm sure he's going to come in right now.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign when they're using that much DRS. You have to pit, and he is. You got to recover somehow, and well, he'll definitely come out behind Karma. But the question is, will he be able to claw it back, judging from the pace and how he did before?
Now look at this, the two Renaults getting very close. Fritzen in the mix as well, trying to go around the outside of Dash into turn number 1. Gets that move done, very, very nicely done. Those mediums are really screaming at this point in the race, Seb. But DRS now wide open for, well, all 3 of them right now, because Casquero still has it on Zamis in 5th. So Fritzen there makes out 1 position. Yama, he is going to come out behind Vischer. And the gap between himself and Karma is now up to 1.7. So he's lost about 2 seconds with an undercut.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a move here. He wants to make it early.
So do we see a turn 8? I think we see a turn. This is time for turn 8.
Oh, look at the run. Oh, he's looking, Mick.
He thought about it. Switch back turn 9. No, not quite. Vischer covers that inside line. This is crucial time that Yama's losing. He knows this. He needs to make this move as soon as he possibly can. He had a little bit of a look into turn 8, but ever since then, he's just been losing time. The gap now to Karma, 2.5.
I was going to say, maybe going for that move in turn 8 was a smart idea, because there was a potential chance of him running in with Vischer, but obviously with the time he's lost, that might come back to haunt him. He has DRS, he needs to make use of this ERS, Mick. He needs to overtake Vischer now.
He needs to go now.
He's going for it now, Mick. He's going for it. He's down the inside, but he hasn't broken. They're touching. Vischer's got the inside. Yamamoto's got the outside. He'll swoop past. He should take the position, and he has, Mick.
Yeah, meanwhile, we saw another battle. Those 2 up the front there, I mean, for 5th place. You know, they're still going at it. So Zamis only 3/10 behind. You can see them on that track map. The Renault sandwich with a Mercedes-Ferrari feeling going through into turn 8 as we speak. But a crucial move there for Yama to get that done. He has 1 lap fresher tyres to Karma, so that will give him a little bit more grip towards the end of this race, because those softs will start to degrade a little bit on that Haas car. But I don't know if it's going to quite be enough. He's just sitting outside of points now, and crucially, you see Josh is still sitting in that podium place after Chris's misfortunes.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Dash and Zamis haven't pitted yet, considering they are on nearly 24 lap old mediums, and they're still going.
Yeah, they're still going. The duel continues here in Interlagos. Dash, great overspeed there, but isn't quite enough to get past the Ferrari. He'll set himself up now for turn 4. We've seen this move once before. Overtake on Seb. He's going to go for it again. The duel continues into turn 4 for what I think is like the 6th time this race now. Zamis, defensive to the inside. Later on the brakes is the Ferrari, but clean around the outside. Look at that. Oh, but not quite clean on the exit though.
Yeah, it looks like Zamis got a bit of the shape. Just understeering into Dash, but that was a nice move from Dash. No pun intended, dashing around the outside of Zamis. Later on the brakes, able to just hold that car, confident the tyres would hook up. And he gets the move done.
Chris now joins the penalty club with his first 3 seconds of the evening down there in 16th place. Very unfortunate to see him all the way down there. He'll be praying for a safety car. Now, I'm just going to have a quick look at this battle up the, well, for 6th place at the moment. All right, both of these drivers on their starting compounder tyres. BTFU, the second oldest, with 20-lap-old hards. Do we see that? Nope. No, I mean, Dash covers the undercut. Zamis follows him in.
I just want to say, Becky B is very close to Rashid. He's got the ERS mic. He's got the ERS for the race lead. He's going to swoop around the outside, and Rashid's going to try to outbrake him, but Becky B has that outside line. Side by side, 325.
Oh, the snap there.
Oh.
Becky B holding on to that position. Did get tapped a little bit there, so I'm pretty sure the stewards will play advantage. Play on, but he's getting a bit out of shape in the turn 8. Looks like Rashid looking up the inside. Outside now for turn 9. Can he find the grip on those medium tyres? No, not quite. Looks like Becky B ahead into the duckbill, Seb. Very, very nicely done, but Rashid, he will have that DRS for a comeback into turn number 1.
And most importantly, for Becky B, he has the same amount of ERS as Rashid. So this battle could go on for another 10 laps, Mick. Wow. And Rashid losing a bit on the exit. Oh, Mick, get your popcorn ready. This should get real good.
Here we go. DRS. No ERS in use here, but he's still gaining on that. Williams in front of him. The two Mercedes-powered cars. 3.8 seconds ahead of CEST in third, who's run a very, very lonely race so far this campaign. Karma getting past Gabbyism into turn 1, clean as you like, clean as a whistle there, but we're on board with the Racing Point, the newcomer, the up-and-coming rookie on the champion of this division. Can't quite find the move as Fritzen past Casquito as well. The Mercedes trying to make his way up into 4th place. 1.8 seconds now between himself and CEST, so hopefully he can give CEST a little bit of a challenge, a little bit more company as this race continues on. But what a duel we're seeing for this this race win at the moment, Seb. And it's not usual that we see such a tight duel for this race win at the moment, as Fritzen and Casquito still going at it into the middle sector. Very nicely done.
Very tight. It's kind of been building. Becky B was closing in on Rashid, and he was now within range, and he got that move done. Meanwhile, Yamamoto's barely made any moves on those two cars that separate him and Karma.
I think Rashid's closer.
Well.
I think
Rashid, he is this time.
He's about half a tenth closer. Not quite close enough for turn 1, but I think he's just trying to prepare for turn 4. You can see, slow in, fast out, short shift to prevent the wheel spin. Look at the run! He's got, look at this! Look at the speed of the Racing Point now. Becky B going super defensive to the left-hand side once again. These two going into turn 4 once more, side by side. With the hand up in frustration. Becky B hard on the defense there. Not giving an inch.
Becky B did not waver at all, Mika. Rashid tried to turn in, and Becky B was as solid as a wall. Oh, that killed Rashid's run out of turn 4. And it meant he couldn't obviously get past, and Becky B stays in front for another lap.
Meanwhile, we'll just have a quick look back at the battle for 12th place. Rhapsody at his home race. Not the best campaign so far for the Brazilian. But he has Gabox for company right behind him. So we'll see how things go. A little like his countryman Barrichello, who I do believe, Seb, never won in Interlagos, and he actually had quite rotten luck here at his home track, if memory serves me right. But there we go, Rashid A little bit closer once again, Seb. Third time's the charm?
You always back the third time.
Oh, maybe not.
Getting a bit too eager. But this is great viewing, isn't it? Really exciting stuff. They were banging wheels last lap. This lap, Rashid's really losing his wheel. This is some good stuff, Vic.
Very, very nice time as Maxime. Maxime's had an issue at turn 3, Seb. The McLaren is in the infield. On the grass, cutting the grass. Oh! Very, very close between himself and Vischer there on the rejoin. Just couldn't find the grip on the grass. Of course, there's no grip out there. But very, very good awareness there from Vischer to just leave enough room for the McLaren there, who was trying to rejoin right on the racing line. Not much the McLaren driver could do there, in all honesty. The stewards might have a look at that, but I think Maxime might be safe from a post-race time penalty on that one, just because there is no grip on that grass at the moment.
I'd just like to point out that at one stage, all 16, the top 16 cars were within the second sector. That's just how tight this field is.
Yellow flag, sector 2, Seb. It's the other Ferrari. It's not Striffium's out of this race, so it's Zamis. He's had a spin at turn 8, and he has fallen right off the back of Dash. So I think that duel has come to an end, and Dash has come out on top. But the duel for the lead still going on. Rashid still within that 4/10 of a second gap. He's trying to make amends for that mistake he made the lap previous. And he's making solid inroads on the Williams car. 3/10 is the gap between those two up the front. And 3.5 now 4/10 is the gap between Casquito and Fritzen for the 4th place on this grid. 2/10 actually. Fizzimon on Vischer. Fizzimon on those fresher soft compound tires. Vischer on the mediums. A lot of duels happening on this grid. You can just see the pairs all over this track map. It looks like Rashid and Becky B for P1. We have Fritzen and Casquito for P number 4. And then we have a bit of a duel as well brewing between Karma and Gabizem for P6. But Karma on those fresh softs is going to try and pull away. We have this duel that's on your screen right now for 9th place. And then we have a duel for the first of the non-points finishes in 11th between Maxime and Rhapsody.
Yeah, and just a quick penalties check. Gabizem, Vischer, Chris, Zamis, and Chiri all with 3 seconds to their name. So all drivers have kept it pretty clean so far. There's not a lot of corners to invalidate at. However, you can invalidate a lot of them. Meanwhile, Fizzimon, Vischer, Fizzimon gaining, but he's not close enough. Meanwhile, up ahead, Rashid and Becky B still going at it, but Rashid not getting close enough.
Vischer's got a terrible run through the centers. Look at the speed now from the Red Bull. Up the inside, DRS doesn't have to use that ERS, Seb. He is cleanly past the AlphaTauri, the Red Bull, showing which Red Bull affiliated car is on top. And it is the A team against the B team. But look at the run from turn 4 into turn 5. Outside for turn 6 now. These two side by side into the fast right-handers. Fizzimon with that inside. Vischer losing the rear. There's contact between the two.
Yeah, he just lost it. A bit out of shape on throttle. Over that little crest and little bump you get through turn 7, and he nearly took out Fizzimon, but Fizzimon able to hold on to it. But Vischer's all over the back of him. He's getting so close through turn 10. Now they go through turn 11. It looks like he'll die down a bit, but it might come back with this DRS straight. Meanwhile, up ahead, Becky B and Rashid. Rashid looks like he's closer, but he keeps losing it a bit through turn 3 as he gets out of shape again.
Yeah, so no move on this occasion. But look at Vischer. He's coming right back. 0 ERS in that AlphaTauri car at the moment into turn 1, and he's gotten the move done. But Fizzimon, he's not done yet. The softs have so much grip through this first sector. And look at this now, but Vischer has a bit more of a defense. Yellow flag. It looks like Galox is around, but around the outside now goes Fizzimon on the AlphaTauri car, clean as a whistle. Fizzimon, 9th place.
Yeah, what Fizzimon needs to keep in mind of his penalty situation and the fact that Vischer has won himself. Fizzimon's got 1 warning to his name, which was on lap 1, so he's sitting pretty at the moment, but he also needs to be careful he doesn't fight too much, that he potentially could get 2 more warnings.
Lap 31 of 36. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to smash that follow button to be notified when we go live. Races, well, the season is coming to an end, but there's still a lot of racing action left to go this week. We have Tier 2 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. British summertime, as well as Tier 1 Thursday. And the Endurance makes its return at Le Castellet alongside the real F1 calendar. And that's shaping up to be quite a good race, even though there's not been great racing in real life at Castellet in the past couple of years. The game always seems to throw up something, so be sure to check that one out on Saturday. And I do believe 5 p.m. Eastern, if my conversion is correct. 11 p.m. Central Europe. It's around then sometime. I'll check a little bit later on. Zamis picks up his second penalty, I believe, Seb. Up to 6
same
seconds.
For Vischer.
And
Same
Vischer
for
as
Vischer,
well.
and that's going to drop him out the points.
We're just having a look at this duel at the moment, as we have been for the past lap, between Maxime B and Rhapsody. And while we're watching the Brazilian try and make some work of this McLaren in front of him at his home race, just want to give a quick shout out to our partners Next Level Racing, and we actually have a giveaway going on at the moment, so you can win yourself a Next Level Racing oh my goodness, what is it, an FGT Lite rig that we're giving away, given to us by our lovely partners. Exclamation mark giveaway in the chat if you want more details on that. Lots of ways to enter, one of which following the stream. Another one for subbing, joining the Discord, getting involved in the community, and that's, well, we just want to join adults. Whoa! Rhapsody! A quick switch to the inside. Looks, it reminds me of one other Mercedes driver in a different league, Seb, that we are very used to racing against. But it's not going to work this time for this Mercedes.
Very much so, but he does have the run now into turn 4. He's looking, but not close enough.
Oh,
and what this means is Chris is there. Oh, look at that slide.
Oh,
Chris
this could be
might pass
hairy.
here.
This could be hairy. These two have a history. They've come together.
Oh.
Rhapsody is out of this race. We have a virtual safety car.
BSC. Oh, I believe that's on Rhapsody. He just squeezed Chris on the outside. I don't think he knew he was there. Chris had such a good run because of Rhapsody's mistake out of turn 4 and 5, but that's an unfortunate way to end your race.
Yes, those two have a very deep history with each other, and well, they do not like each other one bit. So Rhapsody is going to be fuming after his retirement at his home race, and well, Chris has been penalised in game for it. He has received a 5-second time penalty from the in-game stewards for that. That's Karma having a few issues. He is disconnected from the session. Hopefully we can get him back in sooner rather than later. DRS now enabled, or re-enabled, as there's only, 2 laps left in this race. So this race has gone by in a flat, well, actually no, 3 laps. 4, 5, and 6. Game playing tricks on me with
2.5.
Thomas. 2.5, yes. 2.5, and Rashid is still within half a second of Becky B. And we saw this in Tier 3 earlier. We saw this between Backrow and Routanius. And, well, the racing point again. In that occasion, Routanius was behind, made a pass on the second to last lap, and was able to burn that ERS to stay in front in the final lap. And it looks like Rashid is trying to imitate what the Flying Dutchman did a few hours ago. DRS, ERS down to half, but Becky B still not quite. He's still got that edge on him. 2 laps to go now as we make our way through the center SM.
Yeah, Becky B has 10% more ERS than Rashid. This is going to be an absolutely cracking final 2 laps.
Here he goes.
Rashid, he's so close. Becky B looking for the outside line just to be able to swoop around and defend it. They're banging wheels again, Mika, but it looks like Rashid will pull ahead just for now. But we'll have one more lap of this action.
Look how close this Williams is to this racing point. It was less than a 1/10 of a second up into turn number 6. We have a lap and a half to go, ladies and gentlemen. It is a duel for the race win here in Brazil. Becky B, he's feeling the effects of that dirty air now. He hasn't needed to feel it for quite some time now. Oh, but Rashid, he's made a mistake. He's made a mistake going through turn 10. Becky B now back past as we are about to make our way into the final lap of this race. Lap 36 of 36, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your popcorn because it's about to get hot in Brazil. 1 lap to go. 3.4 kilometers. 2.6 miles left in this one, and it's going to be a duel to the very end.
Oh, yes, it is. Rashid down the inside of Becky B. He's going to take the move. Becky B hasn't done this well because he's going to have a terrible run into turn 2 and 3. And look at Rashid pull away. Becky B may have the ERS, but I don't think he's close enough to get a move into turn 4.
He's going to try. He's going to try. He's gaining, but it's not quite enough as Gabbyson makes his way past Yama. Into turn number 3. We'll have a quick look on that board with that battle. Gabbyson has that DRS, so it looks like Yama won't be able to make that move past for now, but we won't be taking our eyes off these front 2. for the rest of the race. And the Alfa Romeo behind them, I do believe that is Holtz. Just staying out of the way there. Looks like Fritzen and CEST both getting past him. We have a duel there for the final podium place for Rashid. He's got one proper corner to go. Behind Becky B, find the exit. This is the most important exit of his career, and he's not done it. He's not done it, Seb. They both are very low on battery. Rashid to the inside line. Oh my goodness, I'm in the voice about the worst time, but it is Rashid taking the race win ahead of Becky B. What a duel to the finish. CEST, third place, and a crucial third place with Yama in 6th place after Gabby's penalty.
Yeah, we got Dash and Maxime B gonna go at it into the final straight. Look at Dash, he's so close. He should get this move done. He has the ERS, and he definitely will have the DRS. Maxime B and Dash have the same amount of ERS.
To the outside!
To the outside! Look how close this is. He's gonna steal it, Mick.
He's stolen it. He has stolen that 9th place away from the McLaren, and Maxime B will have to settle for 10th. And Zamis crosses the line first on the non-points finishes. Karma stealing that fastest lap, and on the back of Zamis' penalties will go up into 11th place. But we saw the drag race there between, the front two and the battle for 9th place. That just sums up this race. Pure intensity from start to finish. A little bit of drama there as well between Chris and Rhapsody. I'm sure the stewards will be having a look at that regardless. I won't comment on that one. But Chris, not happy. You can see leaving the session straight away. And while we've been talking about that consistency for the Racing Point driver, and it hasn't happened today, Yama, a great job to salvage some points after the less than ideal qualifying. Able to secure a 7th place, but CEST did what he needed to do. He stayed in that 3rd place, let the front two fight, and he takes back that runners-up spot heading into the final race of the season.
Yeah, that's crucial because that gives him the driving seat for that P2 in the championship. He can control it. He can obviously do what Lewis Hamilton did to Rosberg back in 2016 at Abu Dhabi and control the pack there. That's what CEST can do to Yamamoto. Obviously, he hasn't taken all the points, but he's taken the lead, and that's the most important thing. 15 points to 8. He'll lead the championship, lead that P2 spot by 3 points.
Yeah, so a 3-point duel for the last round next week in Abu Dhabi. Be sure to not miss out on that one between CEST and Yama. But all praise has to go to Rashid, the newcomer. He was second best in America's Tier 2 to Henna's there, but he's done it here today, and he beats out the champion, Becky B, to that top spot by 0.2 of a second. Very, very nicely done there for the Racing Point, making it the second Racing Point win of the week so far. CEST will round out the podium there for McLaren. A very solid drive there from him, getting back his consistency after a tough race out in Mexico. Fritzen, 4th place for the Indian driver in that Mercedes seat. His debut as a full-time driver for the last 2 rounds, replacing Giza. Gasquito there in 5th place. A very, very nice result for him. His 4th points finish for the season. And Yama there in 6th place. Gabizum in 7th. And those standings went by very, very quickly. So I only got to see the top 7, unfortunately. But man, oh man, what a race. I have no words here. It's been now three titanic races here at Sao Paulo, and I'm salivating right now. I am so excited for Tier 2, Tier 1, APAC, and of course F2, as well as we have 4 races left around this iconic circuit.
You just get great action around here, and we've had great action around all the tracks, to be honest with you. Some tracks haven't delivered as much as we thought they would, but wow, what a race that was. And 3 races in America's division that I've been lucky enough to call, because that was great fun to watch.
Yes, very, very nice indeed. We do have 2 there in the interview room. I don't see our race winner at the moment, but he'll have a little bit of time to join that interview waiting room. I'll let you speak with our 3rd place driver, as he is now 3 points ahead going into the final race of the season. CEST, a quiet one from you today. Before I hand things off to Seb, you are now, as Seb said, 3 points ahead of Yama going to this final round. Seb, take it away.
Yeah, and just to build off that, congratulations, CEST, on your podium and taking 2nd place from Yamamoto. Just want to know, once you saw those quali positions, the grid start, were you just planning on keeping it clean the whole way and just take points from Yamamoto leading into Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, yeah. Going into the race, I knew I'd have to try to finish in front of him to give myself the best chance at Abu Dhabi. And then I didn't know exactly where he had finished in quali until my engineers told me he had finished P15. And I thought, if I just take it clean, rack up some good points, we could look really well going into this final race.
Yeah, you had a really, really quiet race, obviously, but there was a chance that you could have maybe gotten the two guys ahead. Becky B obviously finishing P2. Was there any chance you were thinking of trying to push forward and get those guys, or were you just comfortable sitting there P3 and taking those points, as I mentioned before?
Obviously, I was kind of given what I was taking. Taking what I was given. Where they were battling up front, I was thinking maybe a 3 second could slip through on them, but towards the end of the race, had closed it to like almost a second gap. So, a couple more laps in this race, it could have been a completely different result. But of course, yeah, seeing them battle up front would have helped me a lot in terms of DRS because it's just so powerful at this track. But yeah, obviously not risking too much, but giving it a good go.
Yeah, and obviously you're 3 points ahead of Yamamoto. Do the mind games start now, leading into that final race? Obviously, there's a chance you guys could come close to each other on track. Will there be any plans to fort any fight he has with you?
I mean, it's been a friendly battle the entire season. And yeah, yeah, I don't really have much to say about it, but I think it's going to be a good one at Abu Dhabi. A lot can happen, so I'm really looking forward to that one for sure.
All right, well, congrats on your P3, taking P2 in the championship, and good luck for next week, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, we'll now be joined by the runner-up for this race, Becky B. Well done, my friend, on the P2 finish. But man, oh man, just first question. What was that final stint like for you fighting there with Rashid, the newcomer? And just how, what are your initial thoughts after that long, long duel for that race win here today?
Oh, that was fun. I said before the race, I was like, I'm just hoping for a good race, some good battles today, and I think I definitely got that.
Yeah, we saw in the first stint you and the two racing points very, very close together. Got the undercut on Chris. Very, very nicely done there. And then Chris had his issue getting through the cars that hadn't stopped yet for getting some wind damage and then forced to pit once more. But yeah, just what was the plan for those last few laps? You knew that that you had this racing point behind you who had shown great pace all throughout this event. Showed great pace as well in the Americas Tier 2 race. Just what was the plan for like those final 5 laps as you're leading and you know that you have this racing point just building and building that battery for the final couple of laps?
I was pretty confident. I kind of wish I would have, when he made his mistake and I went through, I think I should have waited for him so I could try to get DRS, play the game, which I think he did and did to perfection because he ended up having DRS on the last lap, which I think that definitely won him the race because he was making quite a few mistakes behind me. So I felt pretty confident that most of that stint I was just saving battery too. I feel like we were probably pretty even at the end there, so I think it just came down to who had DRS on the last lap, and unfortunately that was not me. So I felt pretty confident holding them behind, and I was honestly pretty relaxed, but just unfortunate I didn't get to have DRS at the end there because I think it definitely would have been a different outcome.
Just last one from me before we round things up. Obviously, you had quite a dominant start to your campaign. Just looking back to the first couple of rounds with your duels with S King before he retired that AlphaTauri seat, and sort of that though. Around the third way of the way through the season, you were very, very dominant. But ever since then, we've had drivers like Rashid, we've had drivers like Chris and Fritzen who have been there or thereabouts pace-wise with you. Just what does that mean for you as a driver going into next season?
Oh, I love to see it. Even today, looking at the post qualifying, looking at all the times, seeing how close everyone is, because I don't think that was really the case in the first few rounds in this grid. So it's really good to see how everybody's improved and how the grid has become closer and closer as the season's gone on. So I'm all for it. I love the close battles, and I've been missing it for this middle part of the season. So it's good to see it coming back towards the end.
Yeah, but I'm sure, just like any racing driver, you love the clean and the hard battles as long as you're the one that comes out on top, isn't that right?
Well, of course, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Well, congratulations on the runner-up spot, Becky B. Just didn't quite get that race win today, but all the best and have some fun in the last round, Abu Dhabi, and hope well your teammate might need some help there to clinch that Williams 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship. But well done today, and be sure to celebrate there with the rest of your team here this evening.
Thanks, guys.
Well, no Rashid here in the interview waiting room, the cool down room as it is. So that'll be it for our interviews. Just Seb, any closing remarks before we end off the stream here this evening? Just what a race. What a race.
Oh, what a race. And I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully I get to commentate it. Hopefully Stars is still working. But yeah, this is so much fun. It's great entertainment as well. Such a tight field, and expect it to be great next season as well.
Yes, of course. The next season on the new F1 2021 game set to release in, well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Seb, but I believe it's set to release in exactly a month's time.
Exactly 1 month. You are
exactly
correct.
1 month. So we are very, very excited for the new game, and well, we'll see what changes it brings to the MRL in the next season. Just a quick one from me. Be sure to tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for the Tier 2 guys as they go across, well, they go around the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache here in Sao Paulo, and we've had 3 amazing races already this week. Yeah, I don't know if you need any more of an advert to watch that one. Those guys have been very, very tight all season long. There's still a Drivers' Championship battle on that grid as well between Scars and Azir, the Alfa Romeo and Williams car, respectively. Azir having the upper hand in that one, but Scars still mathematically in it for these final 2 rounds. And the last thing from me as well is exclamation mark giveaway. We are giving away a Next Level Racing FGT light rig for one of you lovely members of the community. So exclamation mark giveaway to get more details on that and maximize your chances to win. But Seb, that's all the time we have for today. And, well, we hope to have you back here next week. I myself will be back here next week for Americas, but it will be Stryfium and Unicorn to take you guys through the Tier 2 race tomorrow at 3 p.m. For Interlagos. But that's all from us today, and we will see you in the next broadcast.